Welcome to the Sporty Sibling Podcast,
where we score touchdowns and make bets.
To Trier. Trier drives down, throws it down! Oh, Alonzo Trier!
Today they're gonna match off and talk about
Welcome back to the Sporty Sibling Podcast here. I'm going to make this intro really quick because we have a lot to talk about. We need to talk about March Madness because, you know, it's madness. We got to talk about the men's tournament, my picks, the women's tournament, my picks, and then go from there, you know. You got to do that. So, Trash Panda, please take us there now. Thank you, Panda. And, of course, we're going to start with the South Conference, like Panda said. And pretty simple. Number 1 against number 16. Alabama versus either A&M, Corpus Christi, or SMO. There's no need to think about that one. Alabama's going to take this no matter what. Okay? Number 8 against number 8 Maryland against number 9 West Virginia. The real one here is that a number 8 seed have won 11 of 16 meetings with number 8 seeds in the past 4 tournaments. So they were pretty close in hand, Maryland and West Virginia. Hence why I'm going with that statistic. I'm going with West Virginia. Number 5 San Diego State versus number 12 Charleston. Give me San Diego State, pretty easy. Number 4, Virginia versus number 13, Furman. Easy, another one, Virginia. Number 6, Creighton versus number 11, number 11, NC State. Again, this one's a little bit harder, but the game predictor on ESPN, which, by the way, if you guys haven't used that, use it. It helps you in this situation. Gives it all to Creighton. So, again, I'm going to go with Creighton. Baylor, again, number 3 Baylor against number 14 UCSB. Baylor, easy one. Number 7 Missouri against number 10 Utah State. Again, here's another interesting statistic. Number 7 seed have won 60.5% of the meetings against a number 10 seed. That's in the past 4 tournaments. That means 8 out of 15 meetings have been decided. I read that. So, you know what? I like that 60%. Give me Missouri on that one. And then, of course, number 2, Arizona versus number 15, Princeton. Easy, another easy one. Arizona will take that one. Let's go ahead and go to the Midwest. Panda, take us there. All right, Midwest. Thank you, Panda, for that. Number 1, Houston against number 16, North Kentucky. Houston, although I personally don't think they deserve the number 1 spot. That's still going to be an easy game for them. Houston wins that one. Number 8, Iowa against number 9, Auburn. Again, same statistic against West Virginia and Maryland. I'm taking Auburn on this one. Number 5, Miami versus number 12, Drake. I guess I'm going with Miami. Number 4, Indiana against number 13, Kent State. Same thing. Number 4 wins it. Number 6, Iowa State versus either number 11, Mississippi State or Pitt. Now, this one can go either ways, but I still like Iowa more. Even against either of those teams, I'm going with Iowa State. Number 3, Xavier versus number 14, Kennesaw State. Come on, it's Xavier. I like him. Let's go with Xavier, number 3. Of course, my Aggies, number 7 against number 10, Penn State. Now, this is a better game predictor matchup. Everything goes to A&M. But what I liked the most was that the 7 seed have won 60% of the meetings versus number 10 seeds. So, numbers never lie. Give me the Aggies on this one. And, of course, number 2 against number 15, Colgate. Number 2, Texas against Horns Down, of course, against number 15, Colgate. Give me Texas. That's an easy one right there. Perfection. So now, Panda, go ahead and take us to the East where, we're going to go to the next spot. From the South to the Midwest down to the East or something, whatever. Geography was in my strong put. But in the East, we have number 1 Purdue against number Texas Southern or FDU. Again, this is first against a 16 seed. I don't think it matters on this one. Give me Purdue. Number 8, Memphis against number 9, FAU. I actually was able to see Memphis play against Houston Sunday. Sorry. And I like Memphis more than FAU, even though the statistics show differently. Give me Memphis on this one by a close margin. Number 5, Duke against number 12, Oral Roberts. Again, we like Oral Roberts. We know what they did, but I think Duke wants to make a difference here, so give me Duke. Number 4, Tennessee against number 30, Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Number 4, plain and simple. Number 6, Kentucky against number 11, Providence. Give me Kentucky. 3, Kansas State versus number 14, Montana State. Again, give me Montana State. Number 7, Michigan State against number 10, USC. Now, this was a closer matchup, in my opinion. Even when it came to the predictor that said everything was towards MSU, it was 51 to 49% in the decision tree, 61 to 39% in the seed comparison, 54 to 46% in the power rating, and the 66 to 34% in the similarity of games. Now, those may not seem too big, but to me, they're pretty close considering they're in 2 different conferences. But still, I'm going to take Michigan State on that one. And of course, to finish it off, you got number 2, Marquette against number 15, Vermont. That's another easy one. Give me Marquette on that one. Yeah. But now let's go to the West, whichever way it is. Thank you for that one, Panda. Again, we're going to the West. And of course, you have number 1, Kansas against 16, Howard. Now, I do like Howard as a team. I do like what they've been doing. But again, I think against Kansas, even though they did get kind of railed by Texas in the Big 12 championship, I'm still have them winning on this one. Number 8, Arkansas versus 9, Illinois. I'm sorry. I'm taking Arkansas all the way. I love the twins that they have there. They're playing great and they're blocking everything and everyone. So, you know what? I'll take this one on. I'll take Arkansas on that one. Number 5, St. Mary's against number 12, VCU. Give me St. Mary's. Number 4, UConn against number 13, Iona. Give me UConn. Number 6, TCU versus 11, ASU or Nevada. Don't think it matters in that one. Give me TCU. Number 3, Gonzaga against number 14, Grand Canyon. Give me Gonzaga. Number 7, Northwestern versus number 10, Boise State. Again, they were pretty close in pretty much everything to me. I'm still going with Northwestern on that one by a very close margin. And of course, number 2, UCLA against UNC Asheville. Give me UCLA. Pretty simple one. No, I like it. But now we're going to go to the round of 32 per conference. All right. Now with the round of 32, we're going to start again in the South. We have number 1, Alabama against number 9, West Virginia. This was a little bit harder to look at. I do like Alabama. Everything from ESPN has said that they're doing everything perfectly to get there. And again, a number 1 seed, a 70 and 6 against a number 9 seed. So again, numbers really don't lie. So I'm taking Alabama. Number 5, San Diego State against number 4, UVA. Again, a really close matchup again. And in the ESPN game predictor, it was they're very balanced as far as what they do. But again, a number 4 seed has won 55.8% of the matches, but have won 14 of 21 meetings since 2011. So I was kind of going back and forth, but I'm going to go with the numbers. Give me Virginia. Number 6, Creighton against number 3, Baylor. I like Creighton overall, but Baylor is a better team. Give me Baylor. Number 7, Missouri against number 2, Arizona. Again, they're the better team. Give me Arizona. So, yeah, plain and simple. Let's go to the Midwest, guys. Welcome back to the Midwest. Number 1, Houston versus number 9, Auburn. Again, in this one, I know what I said against Alabama and West Virginia. They were the better team. In this situation, I don't feel Houston is the better team versus Auburn. I think Auburn differentiates the game, takes it at the number 1 seed. Number 5, Miami against number 4, Indiana. Again, everything is going for Indiana in the number 4, but one thing that I like the most about the Hoosiers is that they're the most complete team in the NCAA tournament, and they will show this in this part of the tournament, at least start showing it. So because of that, I like Indiana to win this one. Number 6, Iowa State versus Xavier. Xavier is the better team in here, plain and simple. Give me Xavier to move on. Number 7, A&M against number 2, Texas. Come on. I know everything is going for Texas. Everybody likes it, and fine. The number 2 seed is 7 and 8 versus number 7 seed in the past 7 tournaments. But I feel like Texas is still a much better team. We have a better brand talent and have beat them. No. So I'm going with Texas in Texas A&M against to win it in a very close matchup. All right. So now let's go to the East to round of 32. And now we're in the East. We have number 1 Purdue versus number 8 Memphis. I like Memphis. Like I said, I got to watch them play against Houston, and they're the much better team against them. But I think Purdue overall has done so much better. Plus, they're led by the Big Ten Player of the Year, Zach Edey, which I love this kid. He's just such a standout player that I'm impressed. But the Tigers' defense is very much there. So I'm taking Purdue by a close margin. Number 5, Duke against Tennessee. Again, I'm giving everything to Tennessee on this one. I know what the statistics say, but I'm going numbers easy. Give me Tennessee. Number 6, Kentucky against number 3, Kansas State. I'm going to pick Kentucky on this one simply because I like them better. They have the history in the tournament. They know this area better. I like it, but don't be surprised if Kansas State can take it as well. On top of that, a number 3 seed have won 9 of 10 meetings against number 6 seed, okay? All right? So, and they have won 20 of the past 24 since 08. So, it can go either ways, but I still like Kentucky's history. Of course, last but not least, you got Michigan State at number 7 versus number 2, Marquette. Marquette's a much better team in this situation. Boom, give me Marquette. Let's go West, guys. And now that we have done the Manifest Destiny and gone out West, because it is our God-given right, let's talk about number 1, Kansas versus number 8, Arkansas. I think Kansas wants revenge and wants Texas in some shape, way, or form. Give me Kansas in every shape, way, or form. Number 5, St. Mary's versus number 4, UConn. Again, I'm taking the stats on this one. Give me number 4, UConn. Number 6, TCU versus number 3, Gonzaga. Again, this is one, I'm simply going with the numbers. I think even though everyone says they're 2 different teams, I like them both. I think they're both pretty close as far as overall talent. And the big factor here is that Gonzaga does not shoot threes very often. That gives TCU a huge advantage because they too themselves were struggling to make threes and put up those shots that you need to really get ahead. So because of that, I think they're pretty close, but I'm still taking the numbers. Give me Gonzaga at number 3. And of course, last but not least, number 7, Northwestern versus number 2, UCLA. Again, I'm taking the number 2 seed on this one. Give me UCLA. And now we're going to the Sweet 16 because they're sweet. Now that we're on the Sweet 16, we are not going to break them apart. We're just going to talk about them all in one, 16 teams. I think we can do it. We'll be all right. So let's start off with Alabama versus Virginia. Number 1 versus number 4. Again, I thought that they were pretty close, but the tie's been rolling. Let's be serious. They're getting the thing, and their offensive pace is where they need to be. But Kahik Clark from Virginia, he's getting the Cavaliers offensively, to get over and assist when the turnovers. But again, I went with the numbers because the number 1 seed have won 10 of 11 against the number 4 seed. I have to go with the numbers in an easy one. Give me Alabama. Number 3, Baylor against number 2, Arizona State. Again, no, this is what I like about this one, okay? The Wildcats are a group that I did not see coming, okay? I mean, I knew they were good, but this is, what I like about them is that they're strong on both offense and defense, but their offense is quite exceptional, while Baylor is, although excellent in offense, lacks defense, okay? Because of that, and that's simply because of that, Arizona will take this one. It's going to be a defensive win on their part. Number 9, Auburn against number 4, Indiana. Again, that one is just, I like them better. Indiana, better team. Give me Indiana. Even if Houston is in this one because they beat Auburn, I still would take Indiana to win it, plain and simple. Number 3, Xavier against number 7, Texas A&M. I don't think whether Xavier gets A&M or Texas in this matchup, I believe that Xavier is they just have an offense that's beyond the best. They were the nation's best offense with guards Sully Bone and Colby Jones, who just were just wow. Especially when they stepped up to replace Zach Fremantle when he got injured. So, I like him. But remember, A&M is one of those tricky teams. Senior Dexter Dennis can frustrate anyone that they can. The big factor here is if A&M does not get on the field, that's where the question is. Texas A&M does not shoot well from the field. They are a very popular pick here. Everyone's picking them. Eyes am I. But in this situation, unfortunately, because of those struggles in the paint, I'm going to have to go with number 3, Xavier, which breaks my heart. But, numbers don't lie, unfortunately. Number 1, Purdue against number 4, Tennessee. I'm just going to give you this one simple. Give me Purdue. I like them a lot better. Number 6, Kentucky against number 2, Marquette. Again, I like both of these, okay? Kentucky is one of the best teams at rebounding their opponent and then making that into a score, okay? No, but Marquette can control the tempo. They can make it fast. They can make it slow. They say, oh, you're going fast, we're going to slow it defensively. You're going slow defensive, we're going to make it fast offensively, and vice versa. It just goes 3 ways from Sunday. I like that more to be able to get them moving forward. I think that's going to be too much for them. Plus, Kentucky forward Oscar, and I'm going to butcher this, Tashbui, has been just... and guard Anthony Reeves have both been carrying the team with a lot of minutes. I think they finally catch her, especially with the tempo from Marquette. Give me Marquette on this one. Number 1, Kansas against number 4, UConn. Give me Kansas. They want revenge. They want to come back. Number 3, Gonzaga against UCLA. Even though Gonzaga does not shoot from the paint and shoot threes, but UCLA does, I still like Gonzaga more. Just the numbers are there better. Okay, the numbers are there. I like them more. I think it's gonna be a close affair. UCLA can take this, ladies and gentlemen. I will add this. UCLA can take it, but I don't predict that. It's gonna go either ways. You really can't go wrong with either team. From the Sweet 16, let's go to the Elite 8 and see how they go from there. And now we have from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. Let's get started. Number 1, Alabama versus number 2, Arizona. Again, very close matchup here, okay? Again, I've been saying this. The Wildcats are a very experienced group here, okay? They're led by Ozula Tabilis and Omar Bayo in the front. And again, like I said earlier, they're strong on both offense and defense. That's going to win them a lot. But Alabama's offense is also very dangerous, okay? Now, their defense, on the other hand, can frustrate opponents. We saw that against the Aggies in the SEC Championship, okay? Now, for me, this just returns in a very low-scoring matchup, okay? Now, Here's where I think they differ. Arizona is one of the most efficient teams from the 2-point and 3-point range. Okay? I got a feeling that this is where Alabama is weakest at. Okay? Plus, when you're looking at the the conference play and the points per game, okay, the conference is 16-2, 14-6. The points per game is where I really want you guys to pay attention to, 82.2 to 82.7. That's the margin of difference. No, it's literally 0.5 points. No, where that could come from a 3-pointer where Arizona leads. I'm gonna give this one to Arizona. It's gonna be like this much, guys. This much. I'm serious. Number 4, Indiana against number 3, Xavier. Honestly, I like Xavier more on this one. I'm not even gonna try to go into the numbers. Everything is in their court to do it. I think they're one of the most dangerous games. Dangerous teams in the tournament. Plus, because they are one of the best offenses, the best offense in the NCAA this year. Yeah, they're gonna be putting up them digits. Of course, you got number 1 Purdue against number 2 Marquette. I'm gonna tell you this much. Although Purdue is amazing, okay? Again, they're led by Zach Edey, and they're just working everything. They've adjusted offensively and defensively. They showed the efficiency that they need. But just because of that does not mean they can control the Marquette tempo that we've been talking about since they got into the tournament, since they've been proving everything. I'm sorry. That tempo in itself is just going to be too hard to overcome. Again, if you can control the tempo, you make them do what you want to do. I don't care how much high rebounding rates they have on both ends of the court or the high percentage of the 2-pointers and free throws that they make. If you control the tempo, you decide what they do. Hence why I am taking Marquette on this one. Then we're going to go to number 1, Kansas against number 3, Gonzaga. Guys, let's be serious. Kansas wants revenge. They're pissed off about the Big 12, the way it ended. They won another straight championship. I'm taking Kansas on this one. Gonzaga, I'm sorry. I was a big fan of y'all's a few years ago when you guys almost made it. But it is what it is. Kansas wants revenge. Let's get to the final 4. We're going to start off with number 2, Arizona against number 2, Marquette. Again, guys, okay, this rarely happens. It's only happened 3 times. Last time was in 2016, Villanova over Oklahoma. It was a 44-point win for Villanova. Last time it also happened, 1995, Arkansas defeated UNC, and in 2012, Kansas defeated Ohio State. So this is a rare occurrence, but I'm going to throw this out there, okay? One thing that I have not mentioned from Arizona is simply this. They lack depth, okay? If you have depth, it doesn't matter how many games you play, you still can have everyone fresh. I personally think that this is going to be their issue. That it's not going to show up during the round of 16, 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8. No, I think this is where it's going to show up. Why? Because this is when games start getting closer and closer and closer. Okay? No, you're playing them a lot faster. The pace is a lot faster. Now, again, the other reason why this is going to be a huge problem for Arizona is simply this. I've said this 1,000,001 times, and I'm going to say it 1,000,001 more times. Marquette's tempo of controlling the tempo is exactly what they need. Now, I will put this out there. Marquette has run into trouble against paint-dominant teams. Those that can clean the gas and convert the second chances, their win. This is where Arizona can take the edge to be able to outlast Marquette. But moving back and reiterating, lack of depth will truly show, especially when it comes to the tempo that Marquette is going to want to control. giving it to Marquette. I am picking Marquette to win this one and move on to the national championship. Okay, next one. Xavier against Kansas Jayhawks. All right, look. The Musketeers have some trouble. Okay? They match up poorly against scoring point guards who can knock down jumpers. All right? Now, does the Jayhawks have a point guard? Of course. They have a few players. But this is why Xavier should truly be worried. The Jayhawks are healthy. They are healthy. Jalen Wilson, DeJuan Harris Jr., Grady Dick, and Kevin McCullough Jr. all healthy. Okay? This is not going to be an easy game by any means. Xavier is one of the best. It's not one of the best. It's the best offense in the game currently. But when that core of the Jayhawks is healthy, I don't see anyone beating them. I don't. I really don't. Plus, again, number 1 seeds have won 14 of 17 meetings versus number 3 seeds. Okay? The last time a number 3 seed beat a number 1 seed was Texas Tech over Gonzaga in 2019 in the Elite Eight. So, again, guys, I mean, the numbers are there. I think Jayhawks are the better team. Give me the Jayhawks winning it by a very, very close margin, ladies and gentlemen. But again, I'm getting them into the national championship. But now let's talk about the national championship. And now we just went through all that. So let's spend some time talking about the national championship. Number 1, Kansas Jayhawks versus number 2, Marquette. Again, Marquette has the edge here because of all the tempo controlling they do. Even though they are bad against paint-dominant teams, I still think that tempo is enough to keep them safe. But the Jayhawks are healthy now. They're staying healthy as far as we understand, we know. And yes, although Kansas in the ESPN game predictor, they have it all going against Kentucky, against Kansas, I still think they're the better team. Especially saying in points per game, they have 74.9, but opponents' point per game is 67.9 for the Jayhawks. Now, again, they're healthy. And let's be serious, we're gonna, it's just one of those where it's like this. They can go either ways, to be honest with y'all. So, I'm actually going to go with the numbers on here. Number 1 seeds are 37 and 30 against the number 2 seeds. And this has been proven right the last 2 years, where Kansas, again, over Villanova by 16 in 2022, and Baylor over Houston by 19 in 2021. I don't see that changing here. I think Kansas wants to return. They're all healthy. Give me Kansas with the score of 75-70. All right. Lock that in for me, guys. Thank you. That was the men's tournament. Please stay tuned for the women's tournament. Get excited. Welcome back. Like we talked about earlier, it was the men's turn. Now it's the women's turn because we saved the best for last every single time. Now, I will add this to the mix that I feel like in the women's tournament, it's more about seeding. Usually, the higher seed is usually the best team, which to me, they just prove them time and time again. So you'll notice that I will always go with the higher seed in this situation. But I will also be skeptical about some of these seeds. So let us get started. As in the men's, the women's are broken up into 4 sections. So let us get started with the first one in the Greenville 1 section. We have number 1 South Carolina against number 16 Norfolk State. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Give me South Carolina. They're gonna wipe the floor with them. Number 8, South Florida versus number 9, Marquette. I'm going to give it to South Florida because they did beat number 2, Texas. Number 4, Texas. And yeah, that was a really good win for me. Number 5, Oklahoma against number 12, Portland, Oklahoma. Number 4, UCLA versus number 13, Sacramento State, UCLA. Number 6, Creighton versus number 11, either Illinois or Mississippi State. I don't think it matters in this situation. Creighton's going to take that one. Number 3, Notre Dame against number 14, Southern Utah. Give me Notre Dame every day. Number 7, Arizona versus number 10, West Virginia. I think there's going to be a little bit of a closer matchup, but still give me Arizona. And number 2, Maryland versus number 15, Holy Cross. Again, give me Maryland. Plain and simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's go to Greenville 2. In Greenville 2, we have number 1, Tennessee against number 16, TNTC or MON. M-O-N. Actually, I don't know who that school is. I don't think it matters. Give me Indiana. Number 8, Oklahoma State against number 9, Miami. I like Oklahoma State here. Number 5, Washington State versus number 12, FGCU. Give me Washington State. Number 4, Villanova versus number 13, Cleveland State. Give me Villanova. Number 6, Michigan versus number 11, UNLV. I did see UNLV play a couple of games. Happened to be at a bar. They were on. I did like the way they played, but I think Michigan's still going to take this one. Number 3, LSU against number 14, Hawaii. Again, I'm going to like LSU. I think they're the best, even though they had some struggles this year. Number 7, NC State versus number 10, Princeton. I'm going to go with NC State. And, of course, number 2, Utah versus number 15, Garden Webb. Utah's going to take that one. Duh. I'm going to do this one a little backwards, but we're going to go to Seattle 4, the third section of the women's tournament. You got number 1, Stanford against either number 16, SHU or SOU. It doesn't matter. Stanford's going to take this one. Number 8, Ole Miss versus number 9, Gonzaga. I like the Lady Rebels. They're actually really, really good. I'm really impressed by them this year. Number 5, Louisville against number 12, Drake. Give me Louisville. Number 4, Texas. Always and forever. Against number 13, East Carolina. Give me Texas. 6, Colorado against number 11, MTSU. I'm going to take Colorado on this one. Number 3, Duke versus number 14, Iona. Give me Duke. 7, Florida State versus 10, Georgia. Florida State. And, of course, number 2, Iowa versus number 15, SE, Louisiana. Pretty simple, Iowa. Seattle 3, the final section of the women's tournament. Number 1, Virginia Tech versus number 16, Chattanooga. Give me Virginia Tech. Number 8, USC versus number 9, South Dakota State. Now, I was quite impressed with South Dakota's notable wins, which is Louisville and a couple of their regular season ones. No, especially the one against Louisville, who was won by 10. But I think in the long run, USC is going to take this one. It's still going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty close matchup, but I don't see South Dakota getting out of this one. Number 5, Iowa State versus number 12, Toledo. Give me Iowa State. Number 4, Tennessee versus number 13, St. Louis. Give me number 4, Tennessee. 6, North Carolina versus either 11, Purdue or SJU. Doesn't matter. North Carolina is going to take this one. Number 3, Ohio State versus number 14, James Madison. Give me Ohio State. 7, Baylor versus number 10, Alabama. This one was actually a very hard matchup in my opinion. Again, Baylor beat Texas 1-1. They were 50 in that one. They beat Villanova by 5. They 1-1 against Iowa State. But they were still very notable losses against Arizona and Michigan. And again, twice lost to Iowa State and once to Texas. While Alabama, they got wrecked by South Carolina against 13. They lost to LSU and Utah. And against Tennessee again. So, I think in this situation, you have to go with Baylor. They played much better teams, much closer. I like that one better. Of course, number 2, UConn against number 15, Vermont. Pretty easy and simple. Let's go to the round of 32, ladies and gentlemen. In the round of 32 for Greenville 1, we have number 1 South Carolina against number 8 South Florida. As much as South Carolina beat Texas and Alabama, okay, both those very notable wins, let's be serious. South Carolina is gonna wreck. Let's go. Number 5 Oklahoma against number 4 UCLA. Again, very good teams. They beat Stanford once, they did beat Tennessee, and they beat Oregon twice. Again, Oklahoma had some good wins too. One against Baylor, Ole Miss, and Kansas, okay? But they did lose to Texas twice. I think this is a very close matchup in the grand scheme of things, So I'm going to take UCLA on this one in a very close margin. Number 3, Notre Dame versus number 6, Creighton. I'm sorry, but they beat UConn, a 2 seed by 14. They beat Virginia Tech. They beat NC State once and Louisville twice. But they did lose against Maryland and Duke. But they were very close matchups. Creighton doesn't have that kind of win unless you count South Dakota State, which they won by 9, and they beat Marquette twice. I still don't see it. Give me Notre Dame on this one. Maryland, number 2 Maryland against number 7 Arizona. Again, I don't like this matchup at all. Stanford lost twice. They lost twice to Stanford. They only beat Utah once and UCLA once. But again, they did beat USC by 6. Still, though, Maryland was actually able to beat Notre Dame by 2 and, beat UConn by 7. Okay? I believe that they're the better team. Give me Maryland. Again, very close matchup. Greenville 2.2 or Greenville round of 32. Yeah, that rhymed. Good one. But we have number 1 Indiana against number 8 Oklahoma State. I like Indiana better. They have the much better record in my opinion. Plus, just everything for them it's going for them. Plus, Indiana, they beat Iowa once, Maryland by 7, Tennessee by 12, beat Ohio State twice, and Michigan State twice. The most notable win for Oklahoma State is Texas by 1. 1 win to 2 losses. So, yeah, give me Indiana. You got Washington State versus Villanova. I'm just going to go with the seed here. This was pretty simple. Give me number 4, Villanova. Number 6, Michigan versus number 3, LSU. Look, they lost to UConn by 22. LSU lost to UConn by 22, but they did beat Iowa by 13, beat Notre Dame once, but they lost to Virginia Tech twice, Duke twice, and then lost once to North Carolina. But they came back and beat Louisville by 12. Okay, Michigan lost to Iowa by 8 and lost twice to Ohio State. And even though they did beat Baylor by 9 and South Florida by 5, I'm still gonna give the edge to LSU. Give me LSU on this one. Lastly, you have number 7 NC State versus number 2 Utah. This was kind of a 50-50 toss-up because their opponents' points per game are difference is 3 points, and the points per game, that's where they make the difference. Utah scored 83.5 to NC State's 71.1. Okay, again, I think that's a much better win. Plus, they're 4-2 against top 25 teams. NC State is 3-6. Give me Utah for the win on this one. Seattle 4.2 or the round of 32. Yes, I'm rhyming, guys. We have number 1 Stanford against number 8 Ole Miss. I'm sorry, I'm a Stanford fan since when they won the championship last year or the year before that. Give me Stanford every day of the week. Number 4 Texas against number 5 Louisville. Louisville did beat Texas by 8. And again, Texas lost to UConn by 7. But can Louisville beat Texas twice? I do not think so, and that's going to be the factor here. Give me Texas. Number 3, Duke against number 6, Colorado. Here's the big difference. Okay, opponents point per game 50.8 to 58.6. That's an 8-point difference. Points per game 61.3 and 68.1. 5-point difference. Okay, kind of see where I'm getting at here. Duke knows how to hold opponents and how to make points. Give me Duke. Plain and simple. I like them better. Number 2, Iowa versus number 7, Florida State. Again, I'm going to go with the ranking on this one. Give me Iowa. Let's go to Seattle 3.2. Seattle 3.2 in the round of 32. We have number 1, Virginia Tech versus number 8, USC. Again, they lost to Notre Dame, but they beat Duke twice. They did beat Tennessee, all right, and NC State twice, plus Louisville twice. Okay, and they just went out and won everyone. Stanford, on the other hand, USC lost to Stanford once, lost to Utah by 10, Texas by 14, and then twice to UCLA. Okay, and yes, they beat Colorado by 17. But I don't think that's enough. If they couldn't beat UCLA even one time to make this matchup competitive, I'm going to give it to Virginia Tech. Number 4, Tennessee against number 5, Iowa State. I like Tennessee better in this matchup, in a close one at that. Give me number 6, North Carolina against number 3, Iowa State. I'm going to go with the ranking. Again, number 3, Ohio State. Then you got number 2, UConn versus number 7, Baylor. A much closer matchup. Again, just to reiterate, Baylor beat Texas once. Villanova won by 5. They lost to Maryland. Beat only once out of the 3 matchups against Iowa State, but then lost to Michigan and Arizona. While UConn, all of their losses have been pretty close. They lost to South Carolina by 4 and Notre Dame by 14. But again, they were able to beat Duke by 28 and Texas, a number 7. I think, did I say 7 seed? 4 seed. I'm sorry. By 7. Plus, they beat Villanova as well 3 times. And Maryland, which was a very close matchup, they won by 7. And the number 4 seed in Tennessee, they won to 7. So, I'm going to pick UConn on this one. They have the better wins. They can show they can win it. But now, let's go to this Sweet 16. Now we're into the Sweet 16. And like in the men's, we're going to bundle up all in once. You got number 1, South Carolina versus number 4, UCLA. I'm shooting for South Carolina to make it all the way. So, just know I'm always going to pick them. Now, number 3, Notre Dame versus number 2, Maryland. Again, Maryland already beat UConn by 2. Beat Notre Dame by 2. Okay? But the big difference here will be the opponent's points per game. Okay? Notre Dame allows 58, while Maryland allows 68. Okay? That thing that's going to be a big factor. Again, I am going to pick Notre Dame to win this one simply because I don't believe the team is made up to beat them a second time, especially if they barely beat them. Again, it's going to be a very close matchup, but I'm picking Notre Dame to take in a close one. Then you got number 1, Indiana against number 4, Villanova. Again, another close game matchup. Okay, the points per game is going to be the big difference here. The Hoosiers are putting up 81 points per game. And again, Villanova lost twice to UConn, and Baylor, and once by Baylor, and lost to Iowa State. I don't feel like if they lost that to those teams, I don't think they can beat the Hoosiers. Give me Indiana. Number 3, LSU against number 2, Utah. Again, this was a really hard matchup for me because LSU is just kind of been an up and down team, but Utah, on the other hand, has shown that they're pretty consistent. But when you're looking at the game predictor, the matchup goes more towards LSU, okay, because of their notable results and their wins. No plus losses. Again, they won against Iowa, Notre Dame, Louisville, and North Carolina. So in this situation, I'm taking number 3 LSU, again in a close matchup. Number 1, Virginia Tech versus number 4, Tennessee. Another one where I'm looking at the predictor and everything goes towards Virginia Tech, but the Volunteers, were able to beat LSU at least once, and but everything else they lost. I mean, they lost to South Carolina, UConn, Stanford, Indiana, Virginia Tech. Okay, again, they lost by 3, and again, they lost to Ohio State. Now, because of that, again, I've been going that a team can be beat twice, okay? But when you're looking at those other matchups, their results weren't the same, and just the matchups were a lot closer. Here's where it lies here. The opponent, the top 25 wins, okay? Record for both teams. Virginia Tech 6-2, Tennessee 1-8. That's a big difference here. I think this is my first one that changes. Give me Virginia Tech to beat for a second time Tennessee. Then you got Stanford versus Texas. Horns down. Give me Stanford. I'm still a big fan of them. Number 3, Duke versus number 2, Iowa. Honestly, Iowa is the better team here. They both faced UConn. This was my deciding factor, ladies and gentlemen. They both faced UConn, but Duke lost to UConn by 28. Iowa lost to UConn by 7. Right then and there. Then UConn, played Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, NC State, and Florida State. All teams that are in the tournament currently. And they lost to Florida State, lost twice to North Carolina, lost twice to Virginia Tech, but somehow they beat Notre Dame. Sorry, that's not good enough for me. I'm taking Iowa State. Then you have number 3, Ohio State versus number 2, UConn. Again, they're very close matchup here, okay? I think the opponent's points per game is going to be the deciding factor here, with UConn only allowing 58.6 points per game to their opponents. And again, I've always said this. Women's tournament is more about the seeding, that if they're number 2 seed, they're going to win. That's just usually how it is. That's been my experience to it. I'm picking UConn again. Let's go Huskies. And from the Sweet 16, we're going to go to the Elite 8. We got number 1 South Carolina against number 3 Notre Dame. Come on, guys. I'm going to say this 1,000,001 times. I'm taking South Carolina. Okay. Number 1 Indiana against number 3 LSU. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a closer matchup. Again, the points per game, it's a big difference. But to me, here's where the big difference lies. The versus top 25 opponent record. Indiana has a 9-2 record, while LSU barely managed a 1-1. Okay. Plus, when you look at their biggest wins, they beat Iowa once, Maryland by 7, Tennessee, a 4 seed, by 12. They beat Ohio State twice and Michigan twice. LSU, on the other hand, lost to UConn by 22, lost 1 to Notre Dame, Virginia Tech twice. They lost to Duke, and barely schemed and lost to North Carolina. They schemed out a win against Iowa by 13 and Louisville by 12. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but Iowa has a way better record, and that top 25 record really hints it. Give me Indiana to take it on that one. Of course, you got number 1 Stanford against number 2 Iowa. Again, like South Carolina, I'm a huge fan. Give me Stanford, plain and simple. I want to see them in the Final Four. And then Virginia Tech versus number 2 UConn. Again, no, they both have very notable wins in this situation, okay? But they also have very notable losses, okay? For example, Notre Dame by 11. They both lost to Notre Dame by one by 11, or the one by 14. So what really comes down to, it's going to be the opponent, the top 25 record. It's 6-2 for Virginia Tech, 7-3 for UConn. I think they're the much better team in that situation. I think everything else is still pretty close. Also, the other huge factor, which is going to be where I think we're going to differentiate the teams, is the points per game. 72.5 for Virginia Tech to 75.7 to UConn. I think that's where they're going to make a big difference. UConn is going to take this one in a very low scoring affair to make the Final Four. But let's talk about them here in a little bit. And now we'll make it to the Final Quattro. Sorry, my camera's up here. So the Final Four, you got South Carolina versus Stanford. Again, this was a great matchup against each other in the national championship. I really, truly do like them. And honestly, when you're comparing the teams, they're pretty much close. Okay, opponent's point per game, it's a 7-point difference. No, Stanford has a better top 25 win record, but the points per game, you have to go with South Carolina. They love to score the game in the games. And again, they both had pretty notable wins. Okay, more specifically, Tennessee won by 7, while South Carolina beat UConn and both LSU. I mean, they wrecked LSU by 22. Again, but they have already faced each other in February, and Stanford lost to South Carolina by 5. Okay, so in this situation, I'm still picking South Carolina in a close affair. I think they win by a margin of maybe 3 to 5 points. But Stanford can truly just turn it around if they just get a little bit together and just learn from their loss in I believe it was February. Now we're gonna go to Indiana versus UConn, number 1 and number 2 respectively. Again, another close matchup, guys. Indiana has a much better record here. But what I like the most here is that they both beat Iowa. UConn won by 13. Iowa is a 1-1. Okay, that's where I think is a huge, big difference. They've lost to Iowa. One of them has lost to Iowa, which is Indiana. The other one is they both beat Tennessee. Indiana beat them by 12, while UConn beat them by 17. Very much a closer matchup. So I think in the end, the points per game is where the opponent's points per game is where the difference is going to make. Indiana is allowing 62.3 points, while UConn is only allowing 58.6. Okay, I think they're going to take advantage of that and come up on top again in a very small margin. Indiana can still take this. I don't foresee it happening. Still very close matchup. All right. So now let's go to the national championship to see who takes it all. And after everything we've been through, we're going to the national championship. Number 1, South Carolina against number 2, UConn. They've met in February. UConn lost to South Carolina by 5. I'm sorry, by 4. I apologize. Who should pick? Who should go? Okay, again. Opponent's point per game for South Carolina, 51.1. Points per game, 81.4. UConn, opponent's points per game, 58.6. points per game, 75.7. Okay, I think in this situation, it's very hard to say, one or the other, even though that when you look at the game predictor for ESPN, they're both everything is really just picking South Carolina dramatically against UConn to win it all. I still think it's going to be a close matchup. UConn wants revenge from the last team, but it is not going to be enough, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still picking South Carolina to win it, but in a much, 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 much closer matchup. I foresee this being an 88-85 South Carolina win with at least minimum 5 to 6, even more lead changes in the game, because this is how good these two teams are. So, yeah. And that is all the time we have, guys. As always, thank you much for listening. I always do appreciate it. I know we had kind of a long show, but you got to get this out there soon. You got to watch it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And of course, I will post my own bracket up on our social media page so that you guys can see who we picked, and we can discuss it. Follow us on all social media, including the RYM Network and the Sport Receiving Podcast. Yeah. Thank you much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.